This is Transcend with Nat, where we are awakening to the spiritual heart, sharing stories and awarenesses along the path of transcendence. Hi, and welcome to Transcend with Nat. This is Nat, and I am your host. And today we're going to talk about those things that block us in moving more, living more the life that we want to live, and doing more of what is in our heart to do. I'm going to be referencing my latest book, Transcending, which you can get on Amazon. It's called Transcending: The Practice of Spiritual Living, Volume 2, and that is available on Amazon. It's my second book. I'm just going to read for you just because I haven't. It's on the cover here by David Allen, who is the international bestseller called Getting Things Done. That was by David Allen. He's a good friend of mine, and he writes about my book, Nat Gets It, the awareness of who we really are and what we're really doing here. He's a fellow traveler of mine and a great and articulate writer about all this to boot. Thank you, David, for a beautiful quote that I can share on this book with others. And so the chapter 5 of this book is called What's Blocking You? And that's what I want to talk about today. And one of the things that I share about in this book, Transcending, is how my first book, which was volume 1 of Transcending, I simply received an email from a good friend of mine, John Morton, who is the successor to my spiritual teacher, John Roger, who I talk about a lot. And John, my good friend, said, "You have enough material for your book." That was, I think, the only thing he said in that email. It was very concise, very to the point, and it was in response to my weekly newsletter. And I really appreciate those of you who do respond to it. And John is one of those people who responds fairly often. It's a great way, now that I live in Puerto Rico and I don't see him all the time, it's a good way that we can stay in touch. And I always appreciate hearing from him. And he really did give me that impetus to write the first book. And I had written multiple books and by that point, before I released my first book, I'd had many different manuscripts and various levels of having been written. And then I had written over a year of these newsletters, these weekly newsletters, which you can get on my website. You can sign up if you're not part of it, transcend.online. That is my website, and it's also on Substack. And the newsletter is called Transcend with Nat, just like this podcast. And you'll get a weekly newsletter delivered to your email and get to read my thoughts on spiritual things, living a spiritual life, and how we can view different situations in life, in our lives, and that we're dealing with in the world from a more spiritual viewpoint. And so he had responded to one of those weekly newsletters, and I was very grateful to him for that, and to also light the fire for me to write that first book. And that first book was called Transcending: The Practice of Spiritual Living, Volume 1. And so now we're on to Volume 2. But before I had written it, there was just something that was blocking me. And I tell the story in the book that around the time that John wrote that, I was actually working with another good friend of mine, Gretchen, in Aspen, to do a workshop up there, which we ended up doing, which was about overcoming limiting beliefs. So it was the perfect timing for all of that. And I was working on that script for our workshop. And so I ran through one of the processes that we were having the participants do. And I talk about it in the book, that it really opened up this deeper level of what this resistance was to getting a book out, because I had been working on different manuscripts. I had a few of them already, not complete, but that were in different stages. And when John wrote that to me, I looked up my newsletters and how many I had and realized, oh, wait, I do have enough material now for a book. I can put these these newsletters into a book, and it will work out as a complete book, and I can re-edit these newsletters and put them into a book. And so I did that, and I got the book out. But in the meantime, I was able to use that process of the resistance in the process that I had created, and to look more deeply at those levels of resistance, something that I still have to do. I had a big one recently, and in that first one of the things that came forward for me was this needing to have the positive focus of trusting. And let's just look at what I said. I realized, and this is from this book, that my resistance had many layers, some of which needed to be healed, involving a trait of perfectionism. So it's interesting. Sometimes those things that we didn't even realize were the things that are actually blocking us are the things that are blocking us. And that it was related to something from childhood as a coping mechanism that needed to be healed, about feeling safe in the world. And I did this whole process that I created in this workshop. And stay tuned, because I am looking at doing more of that once again, those workshops with others and on my own. I've been slowly building up to doing that. Maybe I need to do another process on why I'm resistant to do those as well. So I did it for this book because that was the first step. There's always more expansion, right? And I came to this process of trust. And the greater trust, really, in the bigger sense, is that you're going to be okay no matter what. And even if you're not okay, even if it's not okay, even if you fail, even if whatever the fears are that can come about, that you are going to be okay from the higher spiritual perspective. And that as long as you're alive here, everything can be used for your upliftment, learning, and growth, for your growth into the spiritual awareness, your growth into who you are, and your expansion internally. So if everything can be used for that, and everything is for your upliftment, learning, and growth, and if there's this loving God that's on your side, even in the difficulties, even in the challenges, even in the heartbreak, even in the, life can be a bitch sometimes. Like, no joke. It really sucks sometimes. I'm not going to sugarcoat this stuff. That's the experience of this level at times, is that it's really hard. And that's just how this cookie crumbles at times for us. Sometimes it's really painful. And even those lessons, there's a trust in the spirit and the spiritual principle that not one soul will be lost, and that you are going to be okay from that perspective. There's also a principle that you can't be given anything that you cannot handle. So you don't have to worry about what's coming. And that's an even greater trust, that whatever takes place is going to be for your upliftment, learning, and growth. And that's a really good thing to remember in your life, and a way to reframe how you're looking at the situation, how you're looking at the fear. Now, something that recently, as I was going deeper into this idea of overcoming the blocks, of getting beyond those fears to do those things that are difficult, that are challenging, and it's just within us, right? It's not usually something outside of us that's really stopping us from more fully expressing the truth of who we are. That's usually an internal adjustment, an internal limitation, that as we adjust that and let that go, as you let go of your internal limitations, your external reality automatically shifts to match that new level of awareness. And so one of the things that can really block us is that fear. And the fear can sometimes be known. Sometimes we know what that fear is, but sometimes we have no idea what the fear is. We have we have some ideas maybe of what we think it is, but even then we don't know how to confront it. One of the ways to deal with fear is to find something greater than the fear. As you awaken to who you truly are spiritually, as the soul, as the divine, and your connection to God and to that oneness with the light, with the Christ, with who you truly are, with the beloved one inside of you, as you awaken more fully to that, that one is so much greater than any of the fear. And once you step beyond the fear, that awakening to who you truly are is more present and stepping more fully into the fullness and the bigness of who you truly are. But sometimes it takes something else, an idea. A child can sometimes do that will tap into that inner bigness within you, that inner beingness that is greater than the fear. And that really is, and sometimes it takes a vision. People will use ideologies or religion or different things that will overcome the fear that's moving forward. And you can use that same idea in your life once you get a hold of something greater than the fear. And what is that internal experience? What is that internal aspect of who you are that can overcome? And that is love. Love is the greatest thing that can overcome fear. What you will do for love is greater than anything else. And so the more you can motivate yourself by really focusing on that thing that evokes that really strong loving within you, the more you can move into that reality of the loving within you, the more you can overcome these blocks that are stopping you from more fully moving forward. Sometimes a way to do that is by really connecting with God, with really bringing forward God more in your life, the light, asking for the light to be with you as you do this, really bringing the light into your life and into everything that you're doing so that that can boost you as well. Those are ways that you can start to shift the fear that may be stopping you. You may not get rid of the fear, but you can step through the fear when you are holding on to something bigger than you, bigger than that part that will be stopped by the fear. And that bigger part of you is that loving essence of who you are, which is the soul. So the more you can awaken to that, and the more that you can shift your awareness to something that's greater than the fear, the more it will allow you to step through that fear, to overcome the fear, transcend that fear, and move into something greater. And if you would like help with that, I do spiritual counseling, and you're welcome to find out more about that on my website, transcend.online, as well as the newsletter, the weekly newsletter I have. You can sign up to that on transcend.online. That's on Substack. It's called Transcend with Nat. You can get Transcending the Practice of Spiritual Living Volume 2 at Amazon, or you can also get to that through my website. And if you just need more support, it may just take one session with me to help you move through whatever it is that's blocking you from realizing, if there's something you want to realize more of in your life, if there's a dream that you're going towards, but you keep hesitating or not really stepping forward more fully into that, let me know. Reach out to me through my website, transcend.online, and let's see what we can do to help you, to give you that opportunity to maybe see above whatever it is that's blocking you, to step beyond it in your awareness, in your loving, and so that you can more fully express the truth of who you are. Until next time, God bless you. 'Cause I'm free. Just forgive yourself. Come on, let it be. 'Cause I'm free.